Okay, we're good to go. Hi, everyone. We will give it just a second more. If you are joining us on Facebook, hello. And thanks to those that are joining us live here. I just realized you can't see, you can see my screen on Facebook, huh? There we go. All right, you probably want to see this and not my Facebook. It's streaming now, so we're good to go ahead and get started. So welcome. Tonight we have a wide variety of information for you in regards to stress, sleep, and emotions. And this is such a wide variety of topics, but what's really showing up, I think, for our world right now is high levels of stress. And when we have these chronic high levels of stress, it's really exhausting on the body. And so just to kind of introduce the topic and sharing, like from my own testimony perspective, when I was first introduced to doTERRA 6 years ago, stress and anxiety was a huge thing that I was struggling with. And the component of that really is, you know, everything is off when there's chronic stress in the body. And some of the things that I was noticing was a direct result of those high levels of anxiousness. And so it's just a cool avenue to start diving into and realizing that there's a lot of holistic options that we can use in the natural world to support our body. So if you're looking at your wellness pyramid, when it comes to overall a holistic view of health, these are the different areas and what we're really focusing on covering over this 8-week education series. So we've talked about ways to support the body from a nutrition and supplement standpoint, ways to help with pain and inflammation. So if you've missed some of those previous classes, definitely you can access the recording so that you can watch in. But tonight in the wellness pyramid, we're going to really focus on rest and management of stress. And we're going to stick with the panel style. So we're going to have Liz Crawford start us off and help with looking at this little checklist that we can go through.
That's my cue. Noted. Hi, I'm Elizabeth Crawford, Integrative Nutrition Health Coach. And this is the adaptive products and the adaptive supplements, because they've been very, very helpful. Gaba and some other things here, and then I'll share some of my testimonials at the end. So what I want you to do is, if you have this handout printed out, or if you have a pen and paper, or if you don't, go get one. I would like for you to take a look at these 3 different sections. So sleep, stress, and emotions, they have a way of really showing up in different areas of our life. And we don't necessarily associate the dis-ease or lack of ease in our body with stress, sleep, and emotions. But what I'd like for you to do is just go through these 3 different lists, so mental, emotional, and physical, and check off or jot down for yourself all the areas that you're feeling a little off. And I want you to take note of, are there more in the mental section? Are there more in the emotional section, or more in the physical section? Or is it just like check off every single one of them? And I want you to use this as a guide. So while we're going through all this information tonight, it's a good way for you to get clarity on. Kira's like, yeah, I'll check them all off. I got them all. Use it as a guide to get in alignment with what of these solutions will be most helpful for you. And also, I encourage you to use it as a conversation piece with your wellness advocate. So the person who invited you here tonight, this is a really great way to open up that door of conversation, and just know that we're here as your wellness advocates to hold space for you and really listen to what you have going on and see what we can do to help. So I want you to know that that door's open for you. And we're here with tools. So let us help. All right, so I want to back it up ahead of the little checklist here and talk a little bit about cortisol. We're familiar with it as the stress hormone. I'm sure we're all pretty familiar with the idea of when we are stressed and we have anxiety that our adrenal glands put out cortisol, and that is really like the stress hormone. So I just want to draw attention to something really interesting that I learned recently, and I think it'll be helpful for you guys too. So if you are experiencing any upset with your sleep patterns, I want you to know this little bit of information. So yes, cortisol is your stress hormone, but it's also the hormone that pulls out energy from your fat cells during times of fasting. So at night, we're not eating. We go through a large period of time where we're not introducing calories to our body. And cortisol is released while we're sleeping so that we can maintain that fast. And also so we don't wake up starving, like ravenous starving. Because back in the day, when you woke up in the morning as a caveman, you didn't have a refrigerator to open up. You had to go hunting or searching or gathering for your food. So the reason why I'm telling you this is because if you're experiencing a lot of stress throughout the day, so you get an email that drives you up a wall, or the kids are giving you a hard time in the morning trying to get out of the house, that cortisol gets used up and you don't have it at night. So your body releases adrenaline instead to release the calories so that you can make it through the night. So you might wake up in the middle of the night anxious, and it could be a response to what a lot of people are calling adrenal fatigue. But if you want to look more into this particular situation, Google for yourself the HPA axis, not access. And that's the hypothalamus, the pituitary, and adrenal gland. And they all are communicating all the time. But when we're super stressed, it gets out of whack. So it's very delicate balance. So just keep that in mind that like there's things at work that we can figure out. Okay, so let's look at GABA. What is GABA? GABA is a amino acid. The whole aminobutyric acid. It's an amino acid, but it works in the body as a neurotransmitter inhibitor. So it inhibits the transmission to the neurons that are responsible for things like anxiety and stress. So when we're constantly getting bombarded with stressful situations, like an email or the kids driving you up a wall, those receptors, so we have these receptors in our brain that receive the GABA, they get super frazzled. And we do actually produce GABA ourselves, but sometimes it's just not enough. And having a supplement of GABA can be really, really helpful. So GABA helps to slow the brain waves and activity. It also can reduce your appetite and any cravings. I like to think of it as like the brakes on the brain. So for me, and I'll talk about it later, but it stops those negative spirals of self-talk. So when you get into a situation where you can't turn your brain off, when you're laying down to bed at night and you're reliving all the conversations, or something just didn't go the way you wanted it to, and you're rethinking like, what if I had done it this way? And then you're in this like vicious cycle, and you can't turn it off. GABA puts the brakes on it. It says, hold up, we don't need to be doing this to ourselves. And it allows you to just relax. So that's one of the stress and fatigue. It helps with stressed and anxious feelings. It can boost and calm relaxation. So this is something that you can take. Well, Brittany's going to talk more about. You can take preventatively in the morning on a regular basis, or you can take it when I've had experience with both ways, and it's wonderful. And then it helps to regulate things like your hormones, your gut activity, hormone issues, inflammation. And it really does help with your ability to focus because it's putting a stop to that vicious cycle. So GABA is just this really, really cool supplement. And we're so lucky that doTERRA picked up on this and started incorporating it into an amazing supplement that came out, I don't know, like a year and a half ago, I would say. And it is intended for stress, anxiety, and mental health. And it's incredible. So I can't wait to hear what Brittany has to say about it. So I will hand over the mic to you, Britt, and you can share your knowledge on adaptive.
Thank you for that great intro. And I was excited that you were going to talk on GABA because I love when we get to pick your brain about all of that scientific information.
Crap.
Oh,
I know I have one. Thank you. No, you just reminded me of something like extra really quick. I wanted to say, yeah, our brain produces it, but you can also get it from foods. So real quick, you can get it from fish, beans, lentils, whole grains, seaweed, and berries. There's probably other foods too, but I just wanted to throw it out there, like eating whole and making those kinds of choices can support GABA naturally in your brain. And then supplementing can also be really great if you need a little extra boost. Sorry. Thank you, Brittany. Back to you.
That was perfect. Yeah, so I don't really know doTERRA without adaptive because the first year that I really got into this, adaptive came out. So I love that. And I was so impressed by the science behind it. And that was the first convention I went to. So it's just really cool. And it has that special place for me too, because that was the first time I was truly introduced to the supplements and to the science that goes behind everything that they do at doTERRA. And we all know and love the oil. It smells wonderful. It has that calming effect, and the supplement does too. Plus it has the GABA added to it. And I know for me, I can take this during the day or in the evening. And that's the nice part with these is that they have those adaptogenic qualities and they're able to give you what you need during that time of the day for you. So I like it during the day for focus, but I also find at night it gives me that calming effect. And something that we have the ability to do with these supplements is figuring out what works for us personally. Maybe Serenity is going to give you more of those sleepy vibes than adaptive, or maybe when you use them both together. And making really good sleep hygiene habits is going to help prepare you for nighttime, and especially right now with all of the lights that are on around us. I'm like the epitome of what not to do right now. I'm in this bright room with my light on, but we try not to do that on the regular, right? And I made sure to go get my blue light blocking glasses too. But using our supplements in our sleep routine habits has been really beneficial in our house. And it's sometimes easier to grab the supplements than to fill up your diffuser at night too. So I love the adaptive because it does give me that calm sort of feeling. And I find that Serenity soft gels really help me get to sleep. I'm the type of person that I will work on things late at night, or I'll get my mind going, and I have to get myself in that routine where I start to wind down, and incorporating these into my routine at night is really important. And I also feel those effects within 20 minutes. And then if you couple it with your oils too, it's just a really great combination. So I like to combine the two or take them separately just to get myself into that sleep mode. So I'm going to send it off onto Sarah to talk a little bit more about, Sarah Trunfio.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Brittany. So my name is Sarah Trunfio, and those of you that don't know me, I'm a part of this team of amazing this because I learn something every single time that we get together. And so I'm so blessed to be a part of this team. And touch on just a little bit because it's going to be something that I kind of pull in with the oils. So I have a background in education, and I wish that I had these oils, this knowledge when I was in the classroom. I'm an administrator now, and I use it more. I've learned so much, and some of my background knowledge, some of my current education that I get with the job that I do has taught me so much about the brain. And so I just want to touch on that just a little bit tonight because, you know, I think that it's really important to note that. So my background in education is specifically with students with disabilities, large part of my career teaching students with disabilities with a focus in autism. And so I bring that up because some of the challenges that come with students with disabilities is their, you know, sometimes their focus is compromised. Sometimes their brain is overstimulated with their sensory things that are around them and whatnot. So having some of these essential oils would have been awesome. One of them that I want to touch on is In Tune. And so, you know, brain works, right? When our brain is overstimulated, when our brain is once, you know, we have learned how to sort of filter that, right? So the lights in the room are you know, one example of a sensory thing. The sounds that I'm hearing, I just heard laughter outside my door of my office that I'm in. You know, all of these different things are things that I'm able to filter out and right. So a person with a disability has challenges sometimes with being able to do that, filter out that outside stuff. Those outside things that are trying to compromise, you know, your attention, then it becomes very difficult to focus. And what I love about the In Tune is the fact that, so it's a blend of a couple of different oils. It's amyris, patchouli, frankincense, lime, lang lang, Hawaiian sandalwood, and Roman chamomile. And it's you know, some of its top uses are for like ADD, which is attention deficit disorder, ADHD, which is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. But some of the other top uses are also for like mental clarity. If you feel like, you know, there's a lot, like I said, a lot going on, a lot that is hard for you to focus on one thing, focus and concentration, obviously, but it's also great for nervousness, anxiety, and some of the top uses also include, you know, depression, stress, and seizures even. So In Tune is one of those oils that I have had, you know, some friends, some colleagues that swear by it, and they are so grateful to have it because it really does help calm them and help them to do their job well. So that's one, you know. And the other thing, you know, in regards to focus is, you know, like I said, if someone is overstimulated and overwhelmed in their brain, they might feel things like frustration, irritation, even fatigue. So some of these like natural remedies are great because they impact and they help to benefit the brain's activity, specifically in the area of focus and concentration, without side effects, right? So there's lots of over-the-counter things that will do some of the things that we're saying, but there's going to be side effects that come with those. And because the essential oils and the products are high quality, they are, you know, pure essential oils, things like that. So In Tune is definitely great. The other one is frankincense and wild orange. So for those of you that may not know anything about frankincense, it's the king of oils. It's known for accentuating any of the other oils. So I think about it as like, you know, when you think about Tylenol and you think about extra strength Tylenol, that's kind of how I think of frankincense. It like makes the other oils work better. So wild orange is, you know, paired with wild orange, it's, you know, great for increasing your energy and stimulating your concentration. The other one is there's a combination of three oil blends that I tend to recommend a lot for people that suffer from, you know, problems with concentration or, you know, difficulty with, you know, being nervous or anxious. And that is Vetiver, Serenity, Imbalance. And, you know, the Serenity basically calms your nervous system. The Balance grounds you. And then that Vetiver is like just a beautiful oil, but it's great for emotional balance, concentration. Some of the top uses include, you know, using it for learning difficulties, depression, and anxiety. The other oil that I would touch on would be cedarwood. And so cedarwood is, again, great for someone that has low Gaba levels. It's great for calming and anxiety. Some of the top uses include, you know, people with ADD, ADHD, those attention deficit. So, you know, it's definitely great for focus. And peppermint. So again, an oil I wish I had when I was teaching, because there's a lot of great research behind peppermint. And so like we have a diffuser in here, and this is the space that my youngest daughter, Gabriella, uses for school. And so for a test, things like that, you know, oftentimes there will be peppermint in the diffuser. But it's great for alertness, even great for memory issues. And some of the top uses include people with autism will use it. A lot of these, you know, different things as far as uses are great for, you know, these different blends and oils I'm talking about are great for using on like the back of your neck or your spine, even putting some on your hands and just breathing it in. And you can put them in a diffuser and apply to the bottoms of your feet as well. And I'm trying to think, I had like so much to say, but I don't want to take up everybody else's time. So, so I can talk more at the end so that I don't take up other people's time. I'll talk on the panel, but I will go ahead and pass to Sarah King.
Thanks, Sarah. I'm going to weave so much of what you said into this next section. So my name is, for those of you who haven't had a chance to meet me, my name is Sarah King. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and this entire session is really all about where my area of expertise falls. Stress management, emotion regulation are two of the biggest things that I talk to people about, and that I enjoy helping people find some balance in. So with what Sarah was saying, I think that we're going to jump into this next graphic that you see here and talk about the different kind of extremes that we can go to with our mood. And Sarah was talking a lot about how you know, we're talking about experiencing some things and experiencing emotions that defocus us, and what happens when we don't get enough sleep, what happens when we're under chronic stress, when we don't have opportunities for self-care or things to incorporate for emotion regulation, is that we start to see extremes in our moods. And so what this this graphic represents is some of those things. So feeling fatigued, feeling tired all the time, even if you're getting a good night's sleep, having an impact on your system with chronic stress and with uneven emotions or dysregulated emotions can tax your system and create chronic fatigue for you. On the bottom, on the other end, that continued stress. So when we are under continued chronic stress, that overproduction of that cortisol then, as Liz mentioned, can shift. That balance is very delicate, turns into that adrenaline, and then we can feel this revved feeling all the time. And this I've worked with patients that just described it as just feeling like they're vibrating really consistently because they're experiencing that kind of continued chronic stress. And so what Sarah was talking about is especially when you're feeling some of these things, you're not able to concentrate, you're not able to stay on track with the things that you need to do. You feel disconnected a little bit from the world because you're not necessarily able to understand and comprehend and pull the pieces together. And so it can be really frustrating when you're feeling over fatigued or overly stressed, or our baselines may be a little bit higher. So if this is the normal level and we naturally rev just a little bit higher, you throw in fatigue, chronic fatigue or chronic stress, and that's going to elevate that a little bit more for us. And so some of the things that have been shared already are really ways that you can start to look at, are you experiencing days where the coffee's just not doing the job anymore, and by 2 or 3 in the afternoon you could lay down and take a 2 or 3 hour nap, or where you're so exhausted that you're having difficulty during the day completing tasks, feeling motivated, feeling like you can't accomplish the things that you want to, or even when you do, you feel disconnected, you feel uninspired, you feel as though you're just not feeling as though the vitality of who you are is there. And so this matrix goes from top to bottom, from fatigue to stress, but it also, from left to right, we look at no passion is on the right hand side. So looking at our emotions in that, when we start to feel as though the things that we are maybe excited about accomplishing and the dreams that we have in our life, or the things that we really want to move towards, when we're not doing those things, or not feeling motivated to do those things, or not feeling apathy towards those types of things that we normally would feel really excited about, that's we're going to start to look at some of the options to incorporate into helping with that. On the far left, we're talking about no peace. So you throw into the mix that you've got the fatigue and you've got the stress, and then over to the left, that then creates this lack of peace. So no peace can come from just that consistent movement without self-care. It can come from different stressors that are involved in your life. I have 2 toddlers. I'm not really sure what peace is. If anybody can give me some tips on that, that'd be great. But I think that so that you're one extreme to the other in that. Now you can experience all these things at the same time. You don't necessarily fall into one particular category or another. So what you're seeing here in this graphic are, Sarah touched on Serenity and Balance. And so towards the left here, you're looking at, for no peace and for fatigue, we're looking at Serenity being in the middle there. Serenity helps to calm, helps to relax. Serenity and Balance are actually my gateway oils, if you, for lack of a better way of saying that, into doTERRA, because Serenity creates a more restful sleep. I don't have some of that breakthrough in the night that Liz was mentioning earlier, where, that with that chronic stress and with that chemical production, the Serenity helps to calm those things in my body so that I can have a more restful sleep throughout the night without as much sleep disruption. Balance was, again, my second oil that I will be promoting balance for the remainder of my days, because balance as working with people who have difficulty with emotion regulation. So when I say that, I mean, you have ups and downs, because our bodies our systems try to balance themselves naturally. So the theory of what goes up must come down. So if we have extreme stress or extreme anxiety or really high emotions, that oftentimes those can bottom out. And then we start to feel kind of exhausted and tired and run down, and maybe a little sad or depressive like feelings breaking through. And so balance is a really great oil that's grounding, that's anchoring, and that helps with kind of evening out. So if you're getting some of these swings that are happening in your life, balance will help to kind of even that out and bring you as close to that normal level as possible. And I say normal, we all have a different level of normal. So you really need to learn, I would encourage you to learn more about what that baseline looks for you and the things that you need. On the right, we see Citrus Bliss at the top. So if you're feeling a little fatigued and you're not feeling as exciting, Citrus Bliss is a great option. Revitalizes, stimulates, and invigorates. So it does all of those things. Putting this in a diffuser, or I actually keep it and I'll put it right in my palms because I'm on the go to different places. I have an office and we social distance, but we all kind of work within the department doing some different things. So I'm on the move. So I'm not always around my diffuser. So I put a couple drops on my hands and keep that with me, or I'll put it on the cuff of my shirt so that I can have that with me as well. So I can kind of be on the move with that. It helps to just kind of bring back that, that uplifting and revitalizing feeling. And on the bottom, you'll see the elevation blend. And I really like using this blend in my office when I know that there's a low mood or low energy. It's gonna, when you walk into that room and you can kind of feel that thick, kind of heavy, low energy feeling that's there. Elevation is a great option for those kinds of feelings. It's an option that helps to uplift. And when this says inspire, I 100% have experienced that, where having a morning where maybe I didn't get as much sleep because sleep disruptions with kids and things like that I put something like elevation or citrus bliss in my diffuser, and it really just kind of opens things up and gets me moving. I've actually stopped using coffee. Instead, I'm using these oils to help to open up the airways, uplift, and help me move. But also when I'm not feeling as motivated or excited, maybe if I have a day where I have to do a lot of paperwork or a lot of data entry or things that don't necessarily make me feel super excited about the things that I have to get done that day, I'll include these things in my routine to help give me that little extra, right? If here's my baseline and I drop a little bit below that because I'm just not feeling excited, right? I'll put those things in to help me get a little bit closer to that baseline. What we're talking about is all of these things really weaving themselves together to enhance and amplify the things that you are already doing in your life. And when you're feeling unevenness or you're feeling extra stress or you're not getting great sleep, that you're able to have tools to incorporate into your routines that don't take a lot of time, that really allow you an opportunity to not have the side effects, that you don't have to worry about, not feeling well, things like that. And they're really great options to help you be at your optimal, most vital self. In the middle of this graphic, you will see adaptive. Now, I'm going to kick it back to Brittany Pio because she talked about adaptive earlier in the capsule form. And I think it would be great, Britt, if you could jump in and talk about adaptive on the oil form and kind of close that loop up for everybody and what the difference is there.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Sarah. Great job. I always love hearing your perspective. So a couple of things I forgot to mention. I didn't even really introduce myself, so sorry about that. I'm a wellness advocate, and I have been for about 1.5 years, and I've also been a massage therapist for about 10 years, and I also teach massage therapy. So that's just my background, and I'm all into all the relaxations and things with what I do. So adaptive has copaiba in it. You've also maybe heard it called copaiba. And copaiba is like the nicer sister of CBD. So we know and trust it because doTERRA is on the bottle, and we know that everything is third-party tested and has those high standards. It also has lavender and sweet gum and orange. It just smells really nice. I like roller bottles with it. doTERRA it was around the holiday with the bath oil, but you could make your own with that. I like to make a little spray and spray it on my pillow at night. And I'll even spray it around the dog and cat, just kind of go up and around them. They really seem to love it. And I know it just sets that tone. And I always like to give this oil to people who are skeptic of using oils because maybe they've had an experience before with like a different brand or whatever. And like, I think this is the new gateway oil. We have our On Guard, our Deep Blue, but Adaptive is definitely like the next runner up for the gateway oils. And so it's great because it's not like too masculine or too feminine. It's not something that you would only use in the morning or only use in the evening, but you definitely can set the tone to just calm down and wind down with the Adaptive blend. And I also think just in general, yeah, agreed, Adaptive is the favorite. And like, it's just so cool to see the way that people respond to Adaptive. So I like the Mind and Mood kit, and it is on the graphic too, but this is a good one to suggest to people who have gotten their starter kit and then they're like, okay, I want to build on this and I want to get that Adaptive. The Adaptive you can buy on its own and you can get the Adaptive kit, but I think it makes more sense if you're gonna like do the Adaptive line that has the supplements and the roller bottle. It makes more sense to do the Mind and Mood kit. You are going to get all of the Adaptive oil, the Adaptive supplements, and the Balance oil, as well as the Balance deodorant. And, you know, just going in and cleaning up your products, deodorant is one of the best things to clean up if you're starting that, because our armpits are meant to sweat and get things out. And if we're using the antiperspirants and we're using the fragrance and the toxins in our deodorant, it's all going to linger and stay in this area that's meant to detoxify and remove all of that in our body. So why would we take on more toxins there? One last thing I wanted to mention with this Mind and Mood kit is just, you know, getting you set up on that, because you'll be able to have a kit come through for the next 2 months after that will also help target mind and mood. So it's just a great way to like build your collection if that is something that you want to help improve with you and your family. I think it's a great idea. And the other thing I wanted to share with everybody is just something that you can take away and use tonight. If you do have trouble falling asleep, I just read this and I just want to share it with everyone. And it worked really well because I tried it last night. So if you're having a hard time falling asleep, start to just focus on your feet and like bring your mind and your attention down to your feet and, you know, breathe deep as you're doing it. And I did it for just a couple of moments and it put me to sleep. So just try that tonight. Do your oils and we'll send it back to Katrina to talk about the other couple of kits.
Cool. Thank you, Britt, and thank you everyone for sharing. Before I share on the other two, because there are some other oils that I'll be mentioning, I thought it would be great to just do a quick little recap to make sure that everyone is on track with how this will look on a daily basis. And then also talking a little bit about how vitamins can be incorporated in. So just to give you like a quick recap on how you can use this, because sometimes those are the questions that come in, and I've gotten a couple messages as this class is going on. So if you are in your day-to-day, starting off the morning with something proactively to support your body with mood management. So it might look like what Sarah King was describing, some Serenity and Balance on the bottoms of your feet, remembering that you can use oils aromatically, meaning in your diffuser or breathing them in. You can use them topically, and then you can also use them internally. So in the frame of mind of focus and emotions, using them aromatically is a great way to speak to that portion of the brain that's going to regulate the mood. So in the morning, if you can get your diffuser going, allow your body to get grounded. Sarah was talking about using Balance and Serenity. If you know you have an anxious day, starting off proactively rather than waiting. And of course, you can have them right near you, but it's just a great habit to get into, starting off your day with using an oil proactively. And then it might be going into what Britt's talking about. You're also taking Adaptive. In our house, we do Adaptive in the morning, and then we do Serenity and what we didn't talk a ton about tonight, but copaiba soft gels at night. So adaptive in the morning to help with like daytime anxiety, and then at nighttime to help with sleep, Serenity and the copaiba soft gels. And those will stay in the body. So that's a great kind of routine to get into. And then throughout the day, if you're feeling like you're getting into sluggish, it's great to have your diffuser going, especially if you're working from home. It's nice. You can just kind of sneak away, put some things in the diffuser. And then you also can be, if you don't have that, put some oils in your hand. When I was pediatric SLP, I was doing in-home visits and I didn't have a diffuser with me, but I was able to use Citrus Bliss or Elevation as my hand sanitizer, mix it in with some lotion, got the the cleansing benefits, and then was able to breathe that in. So you can be using that, or you can put a cotton ball next to your desk, or you can put it on your scarf or on your shirt collar so that you're still getting those aromatic benefits. And then if it's with like what Sarah Trunfio was saying with focus, you could also be weaving those oils in, either applying them topically or using them in the diffuser. So just to kind of, bring all of the information together for you of how that could look like throughout the day. And then we also wanted to share about the lifelong vitality in lieu of this topic, because if our vitamin levels are depleted, especially with magnesium, but in general, if we're depleted in certain vitamins, we're going to see exacerbated symptoms of stress. And so adding the lifelong vitality pack into the routine is great. And Kira's going to talk about that in just a second. And then the last thing that I wanted to share from more of like a daily habit thing that you can get into is if you are in the moment of stress, one of the things that I had identified in my own journey is I was literally addicted to being stressed. So just taking a mindful moment to ask myself, is this really something that I need to be stressed about? Or is there a belief circling in my mind right now that I'm supposed to be stressed because that's just the addictive pattern that I'm in? And one of the things, so now I'm doing life coaching sessions, and it's a lot around emotional belief work. And what we really focus on is identifying what is the learned coping mechanism, or what is the thing that I have learned in my life to show up as. And so just an invitation, like if you are stressed, just taking a second to intentionally ask yourself, do I need to be stressed right now? Like, is this a necessary response to this? And is there something that I have learned that I can change? Like, this has to be hard. Okay, does it need to be hard? Or am I just showing up with that belief and it's then being hard? So, those are just a couple of things. And then Kira, do you mind sharing a little bit with your own information on lifelong vitality before we wrap up with the other things?
Absolutely. So I'm Kira Battisti. I have been a wellness advocate with doTERRA. I joined that level over this past year, but I have been an avid doTERRA user for several years now. And one thing that I added into my routine this year was the lifelong vitality. So this is the vitamin supplements. I am not the epitome of the clean eater like some of our other folks that are on. I am what you would call probably like the 70-30. 70% of the time I'm really trying my best, but it's, 30% of the time I'm just not cutting the mustard. So, one of the things that when COVID hit this year, I too, like Sarah Trunfio, I'm an educator, and I work with 51 school districts and a regional trainer. So when all of this hit and we ended up working from home, we went into panic mode in education because one, we've got all these kids that are home. Two, we have all these teachers that are panicked about being able to service students. In my own world, I went from on the road and traveling all day to at home in the office, home office, which you can see is, a makeshift home office with two teenagers. So it was very stressful on many levels. And it was interesting that I had my lifelong vitality supplements and I had not taken them. And so about a month in, I started taking them. I also am one of those people that I probably cause other people a lot of stress. My energy level is extremely high, and so I just, vibrate from now until 3 a.m. I am one of those people that has always operated on not very much sleep because my brain does not shut off. So here I'm ramped up with stress from work, 2 teens at home. I'm trying to eat better, do better, all of these things. And I decided that I really needed to take a look at what I was doing. And, we talk about lifelong vitality all of the time and incorporating that into my routine. I will tell you, I'm a Fitbit user because I don't, right? So I'm not an iPhone person. So I always say I don't. So my Fitbit always tells me about my sleep. I'm obsessed with my sleep. And I was averaging about 4 to 5 hours of sleep a night for years. I incorporated my lifelong vitality, and within the month, by the end of the month, I should say, I am at my average is 6.5 to 7.5 hours of sleep. And so I won't tell you that I sleep, I still have those occasional nights. I'm 48, I got all that other stuff going on too. So the lifelong vitality, though, has seriously been a game changer for not only my stress level, my family thanks lifelong vitality because it has evened me out to the point where I'm not psycho mom. And for any of the other women that are in your 40s, there's all kinds of stuff going on in this body that you have no control over. And I really feel that the lifelong vitality has certainly become something that I cannot live without. Because on occasion, I will forget, to take it a couple days in a row. And oh my God, on 2 days without, I'm like, where is it? So I have a little handy pack that I have, so it's always on my desk. It gets thrown in my purse when I go. I also have the travel packs that I have strategically placed in my purse, in my travel bag, so that I know that if I am someplace and I've forgotten at home to take it, that I've got it with me. It has been, something that I will not go without any longer. It has definitely been something that has made a significant difference in my life. Just with stress, with not just my eating habits are terrible, they're better. But it has definitely provided me with the nutrients that I need that I was seriously lacking in my poorer choices. So, yes, it is definitely, Sarah, a game changer.
I love it. Thank you for sharing and being vulnerable, Kira, to share your story. And that it's such a testament to the lifelong vitality and how we can weave in something that takes it so quick. Like we can, in such a short amount of time, be able to support our body in so many ways. So I love that. Thank you for sharing. In wrapping up, before we do panel, some ideas to consider. We've been talking about really the benefit of the monthly wellness box or thinking in that component. If you're wanting to add in things that will support you from a mood or an emotion or a sleep perspective, they have a couple different bundles. So Britt had mentioned the emotions bundle or the wellness kit that goes in a 3-month series. And then they also have like a one-time thing that you can grab for this month. And you can do that through the loyalty rewards program or that monthly wellness box so that you can earn percentage back on that. And this month with a 200 PV promo, you're also looking at being able to get the On Guard for free. On Guard oil, On Guard touch, the hand wash, and the sanitizing mist. So I'm just going to share this back again so that you can visually see these two options. So the first one, and we didn't really touch on this, I think there's hours of stuff that we can talk about when it comes to mood, but I mentioned in thinking about like when you're in the moment, what is the belief or what is the emotion that really is surfacing? And so if you have some resentment or grief or shame, that's something that's really going to drain you and add stress and chronic emotions to the body. And so adding in something like forgive or console in this emotional aromatherapy kit are great. Peace is one of the oils that Sarah mentioned. And then there's passion, which is exactly how it is described. Passion for adding more zest into your life if you're finding that you're just really, kind of bored with things, or you're just kind of feeling blah. Cheer is another option. Sarah mentioned elevation and citrus bliss, and cheer is another one that's going to help is your pick me up as well as motivate. So that's a cool kit. They come in the roller bottle, so you can grab them and apply them as you need. I love going to, just doing a quick check-in. Okay, what is it that I am needing right now? And if I'm really feeling like there's a strong emotional thing going on for my body, this is a great support. And then the other things that have been mentioned tonight are great as your daily routines and getting into using those oils on a daily basis. And then the last kit to share is the Calm and Harmony kit. And again, these bundles are created as a way to customize an option where you're able to save yourself some money. And then also using it through the monthly wellness box, you're able to earn a percentage back as well. So definitely take advantage of that. And then in this kit, you'll notice the wild orange, which is anything in citrus family. It's like your sunshine in the bottle. We didn't talk about that one tonight, but wild orange is a great like mental eraser. Then you have balance and serenity. I think everyone on this call can attest to that being like one of our gateway oils. Peace is now the oil that I gravitate to, I would say the most. I just am finding that to be the smell that I enjoy the most. Petitgrain is always been labeled, I've always heard it labeled as the men's version of lavender. It's a spicier kind of smell. To me, smells kind of like jalapenos and fresh cut grass. So it's just a nice calming oil without the lavender scent that is sometimes not men's favorite. That's why it's positioned that, but obviously any gender can use it. And then there's the Serenity and Cedarwood, which were mentioned before, as well as lavender. So it's a great bundle to have where you get such a wide variety to help with calming and emotional support. So now I see that there's some things happening in the chat. So let's open it up to answering questions and also just sharing panel style, some other routines that each of us do to help with emotions and stress. Anyone interested in sharing first? Kira, go ahead.
Sorry, it's like I'm the kid in the front row at school. Pick me. I just love to share. So I just love just the entire page that we shared tonight, because it pretty much outlined my entire day. So I start with my Serenity Imbalance in my diffuser. And if I'm having an anxious day, I have my adaptive roller ball. And like I said, sleep for me is an issue. I do the Serenity gel caps at night. I do the adaptive, and I do the Serenity in my diffuser at night. So, and the Copaiba as well for pain. So, all of these together, layers of oils have, gradually become part of my life. So I was just chatting with Val, texting, and, she's like, oh my goodness, all of this all at once. I would say that all of us would say that this isn't something, our routines did not happen overnight. And I think Sarah King in one of our other classes said it best, is that it's a layering effect. And so first for me, I started with pain management, and then I went to, I started with sleep. And so each time I got a routine that worked for me, I began looking at the next piece of myself that I wanted to enhance and take care of in a natural sense. So, that layering effect has taken time. It's probably taken me a solid 2 years to really come to find what works for me and my routines and what's benefiting my body. And I'm finding now it's spilled over into the rest of my family naturally. So, my daughter was very interested in this. She's 15. She has her own regimen of oils that she does. She is lactose intolerant. She's got some digestive issues, so she's got things that she takes for calming and for her system. So my husband does for pain management, my son for his allergies. So, you know, each one of us have a different routine, and each one has things set up, you know, in our daily routine that works for all of us. So, you know, think of one thing that you want to focus on and run with that, you know, to get started. So
Cool. Thank you, Kira. Anyone else want to share a testimony? Liz, did you twinkle your fingers? Yeah,
I
go ahead.
did. I just wanted to go back and talk a little bit about adaptive and how I use it. So it's a wonderful supplement. The supplement specifically. I also love the oil, but the supplement, like, I really feel change in my body when I use it. So I wanted to talk about that. One thing I will mention is that pairing it with the Copaiba soft gels really amplifies it too. So if you are, you're feeling like it's taking the edge off, but you could use a little punch, use Copaiba with it. It works like an amplifier, just like frankincense does, and it stays in the blood system for quite a long period of time. So it's a really great amplifier. So I use it in two different ways. If I find that I'm having stress often and I'm getting triggered a lot and I have heart palpitations and I'm constantly in that cycle of negative self-talk, then I will take it preventatively and start taking it in the morning just to take the edge off for the day. Now, if I'm getting triggered, and what I mean by triggered is like I'll slip into those situations where I'm just speaking negatively to myself, or sometimes I just can't turn my brain off and I can't focus. And what happens for me with that is I'll often get heart palpitations, which if you experience those, they're kind of jarring because once you start feeling it, you can't stop thinking about it, and it makes you more anxious, and then they get stronger. So it's again another vicious cycle. So when I'm getting triggered like that, I will take one or two, depending on how severe it is, and I'll feel a shift in about 10 to 20 minutes, where my heart palpitations and the chatter is reduced by at least 95%, to the point where it's not the focus anymore, so it can kind of dissipate. So it just mutes it to the point where it's like I don't notice it anymore. Like that, like Sarah mentioned, someone giggling outside of her door. Like it doesn't bother me, and it's there, but I can totally ignore it. So that's how it's worked for me, and that's where I don't need it at all. And then maybe there's a shift in my life, or I'm making decisions that are a little bit stressful, and then maybe I need it again. So it ebbs and it flows.
The
adaptive capsules.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. The adaptive capsules. Yep. So that's something like I have felt a physical and emotional shift with it. So if you're curious, like any one of us would be happy to share a sample with you. When I share samples of those, I usually will send like 3 or 4 so that you can try it those different ways. Like you can try it in the morning, see how it changes your day, or see what the shift is like. So again, your wellness advocates are here to listen and provide a space for you to talk about what's going on. And we don't get that in a lot of places in our lives, so take advantage of it. Okay, that's it for.
Cool. Anyone else want to share a testimony? Sarah King, go ahead.
I figure my twinkle fingers would get selected, right? There's an oil we haven't talked about that is actually a part of my routine, and that's Melissa. Melissa essential oil. I take Melissa and frankincense together every day. And initially the motivation was to take them to promote cellular health, and they had, the antiviral constituents in it to, in current circumstances, just to kind of boost my immunity and create an opportunity for my cells to be at their highest vitality. So I did that for a little while and then I stopped, and I can notice significantly, um, my mood changes when I don't use Melissa every single day. And so just a couple of drops in a veggie cap is how I like it to take it. But you can also put a couple drops under your tongue once a day. I really and there's a comment about this being the queen of oils. So I joke, my name is Sarah King. So I joke that, you know, I have the royal couple in the morning, right? In the castle, we take our oils. So we have the king of oils, which is frankincense, and the queen of oils, which is Melissa. Okay. And what I'll say about what everybody's saying too, and I kind of piggyback a little bit on what Kira was saying earlier, is that there's a variety of options here. And it can be really overwhelming to try to figure out what is going to work for you or where to start with it. And I would just really encourage you to, you know, obviously we've talked about, you know, working with your advocate, but there's also something was described that you're feeling particularly drawn to, or that you're feeling that, oh wow, that's exactly how I'm feeling. And maybe that's the place to start, and start with the one thing, and start just and just keeping track every day and how you're feeling with that. So it can we have so much information, and that's why we do these sessions every week, is so that we can get an opportunity to give you bits and pieces along the way for you to start to layer into your learning too, and start to have different ways of knowing, because not every one way is perfect for everyone. I think everybody on this call could probably talk about their routines, and we'd all be just a little bit different. And that's the benefit, that's the value in these oils and in these supplements, is that you can find exactly what's going to work for your life, for your routine, and for your overall wellness and your family's wellness, that is just super prescribed to you. And I just, that's one of the things that I love about it. So I just wanted to share.
Thanks, Sarah. Anyone else want to share a testimony before we wrap up?
I'll share.
Okay, go ahead. Is that Connie?
Yes, it was me. Just listening to all of you, I've been an advocate since 2017, and I can't believe tonight all of the things that I don't do that I probably could implement very easily. One of the things that you did say, Katrina, was, do I need to be stressed, or am I just showing up with that mentality? I think I do that on a daily basis. So, you know, even though I do my routine of frankincense in the morning for focus, and I use my balance on my heart to try to ground and get going in the day, I know that my lifelong vitality, as Kara said, is so super important. And the days I don't take it, or if I skip a couple, it's just amazing how you feel the difference so quickly. I'm not going to go through all the routines because I think you already have. You've covered all the bases. My nighttime thing, though, is Serenity. And I'm going to be honest, I've never taken the Serenity soft gels, just use the oils and the copaiba. But listening to all of you tonight, I think I'm going to change up a few things and really start using some of these things that I haven't been doing. And to all of you out there, it is overwhelming. And even though I've been doing this for 4 years now, I learn something new every single day. And every time I come on this panel, it's just amazing what they all have to share. So thank you.
I love that. What I think is so interesting with this is we kind of just expect that this is how it is, or we get into this cycle of we are stressed and that's just how it is, and we just accept it. And what I love about implementing doTERRA is we get to question that. We get to question, is there something that I can implement that can change how I'm feeling? And then we get to try, and there's we don't have the side effects, we have side benefits. And so it's just awesome to be, even if you take away 1 or 2 ideas from tonight and implement it, and then if you love it, awesome. And then if you don't, come back, rewatch it, try something different, but choosing 1 or 2 things. And maybe it is like asking yourself questions. Maybe it's lifelong vitality. Maybe for you it's adaptive. It can be one of the things. It doesn't need to be, you know, this is after however many, probably total of 20 combined years between all of us, like adding in things that we found to love after this. But I think it's just cool that you can take pieces and really implement things to change how we think life has to be, because it can be. And, you know, without sleep, everything else suffers. With a constant stress, everything else suffers. So this is a really cool starting point. So thank you all for joining us. And next week we have toxin-free living, which I think if you're on tonight's call, I think you're going to really enjoy next week's, because the toxins that are in our life can also contribute to the stress, and it all weaves in. So next week, definitely join in. We'll be same time, same place, and open at the end for more testimony shares. So thank you, everyone. And does anyone have anything before we jump off? Good. All right. Have a great night, everyone. Thank you for being here. We'll see you next week.